Welcome to the Business Excellence for Managers podcast. This podcast is for you if you work in a company and have a management role with or without business excellence experience. Having worked for many years as a senior consultant and more than a decade and a half in large multinational corporations as Chief Quality Officer, I would like to share with you my experiences in business excellence. I know you're busy, so I will keep these weekly podcasts short and sweet. Once a month, you will hear about best practices and lessons learned from executives from around the world. I also included a free download with key learning nuggets and the recommended action points, so you can choose 1 to 2 of these points from the list, implement them, and see if you notice a difference. You will find a link to this freebie in the show notes. This podcast is sponsored by Wave Business Excellence Footprint, an environmentally friendly online training company that cares about your employees' development and your business performance. Today's podcast is about change management. You've probably heard about the quote that goes, "The only thing that does not change is change." Let's think about that again. The only thing that does not change is change. Everything and everyone is continuously evolving. Customer expectations are constantly changing. Therefore, we need to be vigilant to these changes and adapt our processes and the skills of our employees to match the new expectations. Let's look back 5 years. Are we doing the same things at work today as we did 5 years ago? Probably not. In this world of constant change, we are faced with the need to manage all of these changes and at the same time try to reduce the resistance coming from our employees. Whenever we want to implement a new standard, a new rule, adjust a process, or change a team structure, we should use change management techniques so we can make it an easier task to fulfill. This also applies when a person leaves the team or when a new person joins the team. When managing a new company initiative or simply sponsoring a project, we should always apply change management techniques. Today, I'm going to walk you through the 5 elements you need to be good at change management. After listening to this podcast, you can evaluate how good you are doing each of these 5 elements. It is always good to make a self-evaluation. I will also explain what kind of negative results you might see in your area of responsibility if you do not score well in those 5 elements. Let's start with the first element. To be good at change management, you need to be really good at creating the vision. Reflect back at your previous changes you have managed. How good were you at communicating the vision for the future? How compelling was the message? How often and precisely did you explain the picture of your vision? Here, the key is to explain to everybody the end result of the initiative, project, or any other change that is taking place. What happens if the vision is missing? This creates a sense of confusion because the vision gives everyone direction. If your employees do not know the exact direction where things are going, then they will be confused. It's like getting in the car with your family and starting to drive without knowing the destination. As you can imagine, this will cause confusion for everyone. The same applies for your business. You can reduce the sense of confusion if you do a good job explaining the vision. Where are we heading? Make it look exciting and worth the effort to achieve it. By creating an exciting vision, you will change your employees' attitudes about the change, and as a result, you'll influence their behavior, which is linked to their actions. At the end, you want to be efficient and not waste time and resources. Everyone becomes more efficient if each of their actions are directly linked to the vision. By knowing the vision, it makes decision-making much easier. All right, that was part 1. Now let's take a look at the second element, which is called skills. Next time you introduce a new change or a new project, assess whether you and your team members have the right skills to achieve this outcome, which is the vision. Imagine if you want them to do a project, but no one on the team has ever attended a project management course. Maybe the key persons on your team have not yet the right tools to effectively lead a workshop or perhaps present and communicate with confidence. Imagine having people in your team who struggle with challenging meetings because they were not taught how to handle such meetings. If you want your team to identify issues, root causes, and solutions, but they have not yet had a course on how to do this, then it will make the task quite challenging for them, and as a result, it will create a feeling of anxiety. If some of your employees do not know how to synchronize processes, identify wastes, reduce non value added steps, but they know that this is necessary to achieve your vision, then it will cause them even more anxiety. Let's take the simple analogy of getting in the car and wanting to drive from point A to point B. But if you never drove a car before and you don't have a driver's license, you will also experience a sense of anxiety. The same is true for the employees in your company. When they know and when they see your vision, but they don't have the skills to get there, then it will cause them to feel anxious. This is one of the reasons why I created Wave Business Excellence Footprint Academy to provide employees and managers the courses that will strengthen the skills to achieve their goals and their vision of business excellence. Now, let's take a look at the third element that is crucial for change to happen. This element is called motivation. It is essential to evaluate the motivation of your employee when it pertains to a specific change or initiative or project. You probably have a good feeling when you describe your goals to your people, and you can see it in their expression of their faces and on their body posture whether they are excited about the end result or not. I have seen some situations where management did not make the vision seem very exciting, and employees did not see the advantages it brings for them. Employees may even have a different expectation or perhaps ideas about the end result, or they may feel overworked and do not have the extra time or energy to work on the change that needs to take place. Another crucial part is do not give your vision room for interpretation, because if it is not precise enough, then some people might not understand the vision properly and make up their own version or interpretation of what they think it is. Some may even feel they want to throw in the towel and do not be part of that change. This will cause the initiative to become idle, meaning it will not move forward. One of the things you might notice is when you hear different excuses every week during your status meetings as to why they were not able to complete their project tasks. That is already a red flag, meaning it's giving you a sign that the project is just not moving forward. That's why it is crucial for you as a manager to identify those persons who are motivated to work on the changes. More on this I have covered on the previous episode called 4 Simple Steps to Reduce Resistance. If you want to apply this change throughout the organization, you need to start a small project that solves the motivation issue. It would be a good idea to first brainstorm and analyze the root cause of why people are not motivated to participate in the change. Once you have determined the root cause, it is time to brainstorm solutions and put them into an action plan. It is like a small project in itself. Now, let's move to the next factor that is crucial for change to happen. Factor number 4 is called resources. How many times have you had the situation where you had to manage a change in the organization, or you had to sponsor a project, or you would like to initiate a new idea, but you did not have the resources? This happens very often in the corporate world, especially when initiatives come out of the head office. Initiating something new is always a challenge because people are just too busy in their BAU, in their business as usual, and perhaps other running projects that they already have in the organization. Often I have seen the scenario where teams are doing lots of overtime and are tired trying to catch up with their backlogs, and then they get the news that a new project is starting where they have to participate in various workshops. This is the moment when a feeling of frustration can arise in your team. When they feel that they're working enough and that they're doing their best and now again they need to do even more, that is quite frustrating. So when you start a new initiative, make sure you have it clarified how it will look for your resource availability pertaining to that specific change topic. If you plan to start a Lean Six Sigma project, you may be able to convince your team that they will only need to invest just a little bit more time than they're doing so far to complete this Lean Six Sigma project, but in return, the project results will reduce their overtime. This is where your vision speech needs to be compelling, and it should motivate them to invest a bit more time for a while. It will help them to be more efficient in the future and reduce their overall overtime. One further point to this element: make sure that the timing of your change initiative or project is ideal. For example, choosing a time of the month or a time of the year when you know that your team is processing less volume than usual. This will create less frustration. Now we come to the fifth and final key element that is crucial for change to happen. It is called action plan. If you do not give your employees a roadmap on how to achieve the vision, then they will feel as if there was a false start of the initiative. They need to see the main steps of the project timeline. For example, explain how many stages there will be in the project and what will happen at each stage, how many meetings or how many workshops there will be. You could explain to them that workshop number 1 is a problem identification workshop, then project number 2 is a root cause analysis workshop. The final workshop number 3 is for solution and risk analysis, followed by an implementation plan. Inform them that each of these workshops will take half a day. You should also explain the governance of this project and how it is supported by the different levels of management. Your employees should be aware of who will review the status and at what frequency. You should also describe the escalation plan in case there are roadblocks. All of this will make it clear for your team that there is a plan and a structure for how to achieve the vision. If the plan looks like it makes sense and can help them move towards the goal, then you'll have them on board. Now let's use that simple analogy again of getting in the car and wanting to drive from point A to point B. Let's say we want to drive from Portugal to Poland. Then we need a plan because we need to drive through different countries, which includes many days of driving. We need to know how many kilometers or miles we need to drive each day, where we will stay overnight, and for how long. Without an action plan, a map, or a GPS, it will be difficult to make such a journey smoothly. The same applies to starting a project in your company. Now let's take a look at the summary of our 5 elements. Point number 1. To avoid confusion in your team, make sure you have an exciting and compelling vision for them. Point number 2, to avoid anxiety, make sure you equip them with the skills, the tools, and the methods they need for this journey. Point number 3, to avoid idle time, where the project is not moving in any direction, make sure you have people on board who are motivated about the change. Here you can choose the innovators or the early adopters. If you want to find out more about the innovators and early adopters, please take a look at my previous episode. Point number 4. To avoid frustration, make sure you give your resources enough time to complete this project. And finally, for point 5, to avoid the feeling like you have made a false start, make sure you have a high-level action plan that shows them how you plan to get from point A to point B. If you score high on these 5 elements, you'll be one step ahead of many other managers when it comes to reducing resistance and managing change more elegantly, saving time and effort. If you found this topic interesting, I have a 2.5-hour course that goes deeper into this subject, and you will have further tools and techniques to reduce resistance and be able to spend less time and energy implementing change in your business area. In the show notes, you will find a link to a downloadable PDF with the learning nuggets and simple action points. You can choose the action points that best fit your current situation and evaluate whether they brought you value. Feel free to let me know how it went. Your feedback is important to my team and me, so we can continuously improve the value we deliver, as we want to give you the most from each episode. Please rate, subscribe, send in your comments, and share with those you think could profit from this episode. It's very much appreciated, and I am grateful for your messages. I am also a work in progress, and I strive to do things better every day. Investing in yourself is the best investment. Therefore, if you are interested in finding out more about courses and certification programs that were designed for you as a manager to further boost your business excellence initiatives, please go to the Courses for Managers tab in my company website. On the other hand, if you want to further develop your employees or perhaps your high performers so that they can bring even more value to the company and learn new skills and methods for solving process issues, then please select Courses for Employees tab on our website www.wave-bef.com. Thank you, stay tuned, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon in the next episode.